So just show you this quick process. This is a knife after strain relief, so I want to quickly clean it up, remove any sort of carbon deposits on the blade, and then get this ready for its heat treatment, anti-scale compound. So quickly, I've got a satin wheel on my grinder here. I'm going to spin that up. It just takes seconds just to clean all that sort of carbon build-up off. Just a quick job, and there you go. Look, that's the blade cleaned up, ready for its anti-scale compound. Right, I've got to now. Next stage in this is get the anti-scale on. Now, they've been in the kiln. They've been at 700 or thereabouts. Burnt any of the oil off, so they should take on the anti-scale compound quite well. This is ATP 641 is what I use for anti-scale, and I dilute it in distilled water, and that's what I got going on in here. I'll just quickly show you what I do. I dip them. I get a much better even coat that way. I'm just going to preheat the blade using a heat gun. And dip it into the solution. Now, I don't know if you can see that I've got a nice even coat all the way round. Now listen, to apply heat again just to dry it all off. You can see the moisture evaporating from the blade. I only coat the blade, I don't bother coating the handle. It's all going to be ground very coarse and then glued up to the scales, so you won't need to anti-scale that. Just the actual blade itself. It protects the blade from attack of oxygen whilst it's in the kiln, and it just mars if you don't have the anti-scale compound on, it mars the surface, makes it difficult to get a nice finish. But whereas with the handle scales here, a lot of these are going to be tapered anyway. It's all going to be ground right the way back, and it's going to be very coarsely scored up for adhesion, so you don't really have to worry about the handle. It's only the blade that I'm interested in. So there you go, that's anti-scale compound on that blade. Completely sealed it against the atmosphere. I've got to do that to all these blades, and then they go into their heat treatment. A few minutes later now, and they're all the batch of 6. I work in batches of 6 when I come to heat treating, because that's what the kiln can take, 6 blades at a time. If you notice on this one, this knife here, it's got three large holes in the centre of the handle. That's the back hole there, with my fingers pointing at, that's the lanyard hole. And these 2 holes here, I call these glue holes. That hole there, that's the pin for the rear pin. These 3 large holes in the middle of the handle, 1, 2, 3, they're for weight reduction and to allow glue to pass through. And then the front hole there is another pin hole, securing hole. These holes have been drilled for the small pinholes are in that diameter for leveless bolts. But you notice that this one, as I say, has got 3 large holes. There's another one there with 3 large holes, but the rest of them have just got 2 holes. 2 holes, you can see there, 1, 2 large holes. And the reason for that is that the ones with 2 holes, they're going to end up being tapered. As I say, tapering, the holes are also for reducing weight, but tapering will reduce weight from the handle as well. So I don't need to have the extra holes. These, with the 3 large holes, these are going to be straight tang knives. so that's why I wanted those holes in for weight removal more than anything. And here we are, we're at the kiln, and this is where they go in now to get hardened, and that'll mean taking them to about 800 degrees centigrade. I mustn't forget my magic block. I use that for preheating the oil. So that's it, the kiln gets closed up, and then I just recall. This is all programmed on here, so it's a matter of recalling a cycle. So I recall, and it's programmed to, and that's it. It'll now heat treat those blades for me, all automatically. People always say how large your workshop is, and then when I get a few visitors come into the workshop, they say, "Oh, crumbs, it's really small, isn't it?" So yeah, it is really small. It's just I guess it's 18 foot by 15 foot, something like that. It's a small little workshop, really. This is what I call the engineering area. So my bank of drill presses, and then I've got all my tool rests for down here for the main metalwork grinder, which is over here, the MP grinder. Really important to control the light. I have mentioned it in previous videos, but I've got these blinds up so I can simply remove them. Obviously there's the outside, but if I'm doing any grinding, they do an excellent job of keeping any daylight out, so I can control the light, and that means I can control the shadows. If you've got even lighting, then you can get a good accurate grind. That's the press I use for impressing my logo. I use about 10 tons of pressure on that. Various wheels for the metalworking grinder. Metal cutting bandsaw there. And then the two other grinders that I've got. And I do all the more dusty work in here, so I've got dust extraction built in for these machines. Up here I've got an air scrubber, a few other metalworking tools, a nice 10-inch disc sander there, a woodworking bandsaw. So really quite basic tools, I suppose, really. That's the simple workshop facilities. Through here it's all dimly lit because I do my heat treatment in here, and as you saw the kiln earlier, I've got another spare kiln down there, and an air compressor and a pressure pot for my stabilising of the wood. I use a belling oven for tempering. I find that a very accurate oven, especially when it's got the just down in the dimness there's a PID controller which controls that oven. And the wood drying cabinet, which is constantly on the go, drying out pieces of timber for knife scales. Anyway, I finished a knife off. I finished one knife off. I thought I'd take you in and show you that. This knife's been sold, but anyway, we can leave the kiln now to do its thing. It's already climbing in temperature. It's now up to 448 degrees, 450 degrees centigrade. It will run it through various ramps and holds and give me the heat treat that I desire. Anyway, let's go indoors. I'm having some trouble. The light is so dim this time of the year. You know, we've only got, well, 3:30. We've got another hour of daylight, or another half an hour of daylight, and then it's dusk. I did finish a knife off. I'm glad to say that the heat treatment for those blades, you saw them go into the kiln. They've now been heat treated. I've Rockwell tested them. They came out absolutely spot on. So before I show you the knife, that I finished, I'll let you have a quick look at what hot steel looks like. So here we are. That's the colour of the steel you're dealing with. There, it's red hot. I use this piece of steel to warm the oil up, just like that. There you go. Right, they're ready to come out now. They've been in there long enough. What's that? That's about 25 minutes soak time. Straight in and quenched. So I'm looking at getting these from red heat down to hand holdable in as short a space of time as I can. Generally around about 20 seconds, 25 seconds. No smoke on it now. Yeah. Just hand holdable. The other thing I like to do, I like to leave them in a warm place to rest as well. So that's what they're nice and warm up there, and they'll rest there. We're now doing the dishes, and this is the best way I find actually to degrease the blades. Doesn't clag your belts up if you degrease them this way. So there you go. That was the heat treat process. I think it's really crucial to get a good soak in the kiln at the right temperature for a good amount of time. I aim for 20-25 minutes. That's why you've got to have that anti-scale on, otherwise you'll get your blades decarbed in the kiln. That heat allows all the components of the steel to go into a nice homogeneous state, so that some of the components take a little bit longer to reach that state. Some of them, so you want it all to be even, hence you've got to soak it and let it rest in that nice heat, and then bring it out, quench it. And my quench tank is only literally 1.5 foot away from the kiln, so that means I can bring the blade out straight into the quench tank, and I'm aiming to drop the steel from red heat down to hand holdable in 20 to 25 seconds, so as rapid as you can. But I'm also governed, of course, by the oil that I'm using. I'm using a specific quenching which is designed, and it's formulated specifically for 01. It's got the right viscosity to it for 01. 01 doesn't need a super fast quench. If you use the real fast quenching like a thinner oil or water, the chances are you could warp the blades, you could crack the blades, you could do all sorts. So you've got to use the right quenching to drop it at the right rate. But I find if I can get the blades hand holdable in about 20 to 25 seconds, they come out super hard at 65, 66 HRC, which is what I want. Anyway, I've had to be cunning about how I show you this knife, because you can see the light is not good. It's dull. So got my head torch, and that means I can show you what the lovely grain on this classic looks like. This is a 3mm classic with yeah, let's get the torch onto it. I don't know if it'll, let's get the camera to focus. I think it's focusing. Can you see that lovely ripple? It's amazing. There. Yeah, it kind of works, doesn't it? It kind of works. Yeah, this knife has been sold. It's got a home to. I've got a buyer waiting for it. I just got to build the sheath. The knives you saw me building in the workshop, over the next few days and weeks, it'll take me probably 2 or 3 weeks to finish that batch of knives, with all the leather work and all the other bits and pieces that's got to go on with it. I don't think people often understand the amount of time and it takes to do these knives. So that's that one, beautiful piece. Just need leather work for that. So I think that's about it really. I might do a quick weekly update once a week so you can just see where I am, because people are emailing me and asking me when the next knife is going to be available on the website. People are checking the website and finding that, you know, they're wasting their time, so I don't want people to do that. So the best thing is to just keep a check on my YouTube video, and I'll put one up every week telling people where I am, so that you know when to look on the website. I'll leave you with the Rockwell tests, just for a bit of entertainment, and then all being well, some of the knives should be available next week. So hopefully I'll do an update video on those then. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. We're on the RC tester now, checking for full hardness, so this is before we temper them, and I'm looking for somewhere 65 HRC or above, so let it settle, and then we'll release the load and see where the actual measuring needle settles to. Okay, here we go. Yes, as you can see, we're well above 65. So 65 is there. We're almost 1 point above that. So that's full hardness.